good Mumbai chapter. We are very, very happy to have all of you here this evening. I hope you'll have your cup of tea, coffee, and are enjoying your evening in whichever part of the country or world you are. My name is Rekha, and I have my friend Aditi here. We both will be leading you all on this wonderful journey this evening. And they say that statues are built of individuals and not of community. This evening, you will meet such individuals who have made a difference not only in their personal, professional life, but also added on to the life of others and the community at large. A man whose vision was to see good in everything. He felt that we read news which are not very complimentary or good every morning, but the world is surviving because of the good in our country. None other than Mr. Anil Swarup, who thought of Nexus of Good. We have with us this evening a man, an IS officer, a wonderful person who actually saw education, besides other things, go ahead in our country, who started this Nexus of Good, and he will share what made him do that. This evening, we will also have two lady individuals who thought of education in our city, Mumbai, and did a lot and are still doing a lot. But before I introduce them and Aditi introduces one of them, I would request Mr. Anil Swarup. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A very, very good afternoon to all of you. What a pleasure it is to be amidst the Bombay Club, as it were. I'm so glad that you're keeping it alive, and Nexus of Good gives me an opportunity to interact with all of you, and it gives me a lot of energy interacting with people like you. It all happened when I was Secretary School Education, going around the country and saw some wonderful work being done. I distinctly recall Aditi was working with an organization called Arpan, and I was so impressed with what I saw there. And similarly, at other places, I saw such wonderful, wonderful work. It was then that I realized that how about talking about such good work? In India, we are very fond of masala. So we are very, we enjoy negative news and negative conversation, but we barely spend time on talking about good work that is happening around us. That has made many people very cynical about things around us. So I thought if we can discuss, identify, understand good work, probably we'll be able to demonstrate that good can happen because good is happening. Because unless we demonstrate good is happening, it will be more of gyan, telling others that good should happen. And my feeling was that since good is already happening, though of course goes unnoticed, if we can talk about it, probably we'll be able to persuade the naysayers into believing that good can happen. And that is where the whole idea of Nexus Good germinated. And now it has grown into a full-blown tree and growing by the day with people like Rekha ji and all of you who are supporting this whole concept, this idea of Nexus of Good to grow. So principally, the idea is to identify good work, to understand good work, most importantly, to appreciate good work so that it can be replicated and scaled, primarily through public-private partnership, because good work can happen in different places, but for it to scale, I think government has a very important role to play. The states have an important role to play. So it has to be a partnership between the government and the private domain. Normally, there is a lot of cynicism within the government about the private domain. I mean, they keep doubting everyone in the civil society organization. And civil society organization, people think that everyone in the government is corrupt, and both are equally wrong. I think there are good people in the government, there are extremely good people in the private domain, in this civil society organizations. And today is a wonderful example of wonderful work that is happening. And I'm so glad that two such organizations will be making presentation here. I hope these stories are also hosted on the web portal that we have, where we already have hundreds of wonderful stories convincing people around us that good work is happening, and hence we have to take a look at it and replicate it. So all the best to you. I don't want to stand between you and the two wonderful presentations that we have lined up. I look forward to listening to them and feel inspired. Even at this age, I seek inspiration from people like you. Nothing like feeling inspired by people who are actually doing things on the ground, whereas I'm busy only talking. I hardly walk these days, but I love listening to people who walked some distance because they carry a lot of conviction. So over to you, and thank you very much for inviting me here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words and wonderful sharing. Like sir said, that the seeds are sown. In the same way, we learn a lot from the school we go to. Sometimes we do not learn at that time, but we definitely are blossoming over the period of time. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing an organization, Each One Teach One, which was started by a lady who had a vision, who had a dream. And I like to always remind her and myself that we both went to the same school, had the same principal, but at different times. But we also share our little naughtiness together. That is none other than Mrs. Jyoti Tanna, the founder of Each One Teach One. This lady started with 5 students, and today I would say, you will see in the presentations, she has reached over more than 50,000 children in the country. As time passes, we always worry, after me, what next? I think people like her do not have to worry, because somewhere in life, angels come in our life to carry on the work forward. She met Renu Raut, a great social worker who works for Each One Teach One. And I welcome Renu to do the presentation for today. The sequence is going to be, we will do the presentation. Aditi will be introducing Parisar Asha. And after that, we will all have question answer session. You could talk to the founder, you can talk to Renu, you can talk to anybody. We'll have a kind of a conversation and interactive session. But at this moment, I invite Renu to come. Welcome, Renu.
Thank you very much, Rekha, for the invitation. And thank you very much, everyone, for giving us an opportunity to come here and present the good work that Mrs. Tanna has done for the last 38 years.
Children are born eager to learn. Capitalizing on a child's curiosity as a learning motivator isn't complicated. Many children come from an environment that is not emotionally and psychologically sound.
Each One Teach One, which was born out of this commitment that the child who wants to study should be given an opportunity to study and should not be deprived.
Each child has different needs. A school is an institution that prepares children for life. A school thrives to nurture the child's education, curiosity, and tug on their natural motivation to learn. Teach the children so it will not be necessary to teach the adults.
The association with Toolbox India and Each One Teach One is a long-standing one. In a recent Toolbox conducted with the EOTO schools, it was very evident that we could see the academic rigor and discipline improve. There was an overall improvement in the performance of the students.
One Teach One is to foster essentially moral sensibility, while education ensures intellectual development.
Compassion is one of the major motives, because when we attend to each and every child with love and compassion, the result and the outcome is better.
We back up the aesthetic development of a child's like character building, spiritual and moral values, physical growth, creativity, and many more through our co-curricular activities.
Teaching at the Tata compound wasn't just a learning experience for the students, it was also a huge learning experience for us, making the entire curriculum. The curriculum was very unique, honestly. It had math, science, English, but not in the usual sense where we get textbooks and just write things on the board. If we taught science, we got science experiments to show them what we meant. If we wanted to teach them English, we got Scrabble or Hangman.
इंग्लिश अच्छा लगता है सीखने और साइंस का भी सीखा है प्रोजेक्ट अच्छा लगता है.
We started rolling it for the last 2 years, and it has been a very successful program. See, these children come to our school, so they get the flavor and the essence of what it is to like to be in an elite school. When our children go to their school, they realize what they have and what they should share.
ईचवन टीचर हमको यहाँ पे लेके थे, हम बहुत अच्छा लगता है यहाँ पे आने से. और मैं थैंक यू बोलूँगी ईचवन टीचर के लिए, क्योंकि हमें यहाँ पे लेके आए थे. इधर आज के हम लोग की और इंग्लिश प्योर होती है और बहुत कुछ सीखने मिलता है इसलिए.
The one word that comes in my mind is passion. I see passion all around them, and I think that conquers everything. I feel we need more of each one teach ones in our country, because what I've observed over the years, there are people who are there for a passion and they are just moving on and doing so much for the community. We need more people like that.
For more than 30 years, EOTO has tirelessly pursued its mission of educating children from lesser privileged strata of society. Their aim is to provide an opportunity to underprivileged children to discover their hidden potential and prepare them to take up life responsibility and challenges.
One of the children, we are a 32-year-old organization. When the child brings up and he says, Didi, I'm working in USA and I've got a contract for 2 years. Oh my God, the joy that I feel, I can't express. It's that good.
Our teachers go through an extensive training program in order to be updated with the latest techniques and teaching aids. In this effort, Each One Teach One has received the support and strength from like-minded donors, philanthropists who have extended the much-needed help. Each One Teach One salutes these wonderful people for their generosity and all the help that have been provided by them.
And I would say I have great experience, because whenever I came here, I have a lot of support from the organization, from NGO, and happy to work together with them. They do what they can for the children, and so this is also the reason why I'm staying forward with Each One Teach One.
I believe that EOTO will continue in its quest and will continue to strive to support the students in enabling them to achieve their aspirations in terms of their academic and their life goals. And we wish them the very best.
If this program could be, like copied or replicated in those villages and states of India, I think India has a great future.
My dream for EOTO is it should grow like mushroom all over India, where the children, we can reach as many as possible. And these children are the ones who are our future for India.
Thank you everyone for patiently watching the video, and I hope you must have got a brief understanding of what Each One Teach One does and what we have been doing in this last 38 years. So coming back to the presentation, this is a small presentation that we have where we will try and put the points together where Each One Teach One and the structure of how we are working over these years. So as Ms. Rekha Shahani already specified, Each One Teach One was an organization which was started in the year 1983 by Mrs. Jyoti Tanna, who saw the plight of 5 children on the street not able to go to school. When she asked them the reason was they didn't have basic support facilities, because if they go home, parents beat them because they can't afford to give them the facility. And if they go to school without facilities, they were not able to enter the school premises. So Mrs. Jyoti Tanna is someone who always had a soft corner for each and every person to go ahead for education. So she started helping these 5 children and formed an organization. And since then, every year, there is thousands of children who pass 10 standard under Each One Teach One remedial coaching centers. Yeah. So EOTO has a holistic program approach. The holistic program is divided into 3 sections. One is the school support program, second is the remedial coaching, and third is the community program. The school support program is like each one works in government schools, and we provide activities as well as teachers and other facilities in the school for children's holistic development. If a child comes to school, all the facilities needs to be provided so that overall development of the child is being done. So there are series of activities conducted in the school, and also series of facilities given like library, laboratory, washroom facilities, hygiene facilities, everything in the school for the children to be successful and being able to continue in the school. We do remedial coaching because of the all pass system till 8th standard. There are a lot of children in the school who are not able to become at par when they come to 8th and 9th standard. For them, the coaching in the classes does not make sense. So we do remedial coaching where we do a basic understanding of the child and bring the child at par to the system of the school, and then they clear 10th. After clearing 10th also, we support them by giving scholarship for further education. The third section that we work is the community program. In the community, we have 2 types of programs. One is the education program and second is the vocational. Under education program, we provide tuitions for children who are out of school and who also go to school. So those who are out of school, we make them, we give them an education system where they bring their level and then get an admission for them to the school. And once the child is admitted in the school, there are tuition centers in our community area where we focus on them to continue going to school, and at no point of time they should become a dropout from the school. We also practice a worksheet model, which we started during this COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot of children were not able to come online for online classes. So we started distributing worksheets in the community areas as well as through their homes, where they used to solve the worksheets, give it back, and we used to give them a next set of worksheets. So since the pandemic, this worksheet model is being adopted by all the schools that we are working into. In the community program, we also run vocational training centers where we do a lot of women empowerment. We conduct tailoring classes, beautician classes, and computer centers for women as well as men. And it is especially for children, for the parents or the mothers of the children who are going to school, and they bring the children to the school, and at the remaining time they set for the vocational training centers. So this is a basic model of each one teach one. Each one teach one works with 7 objectives. One is educate and promote education. It is that every child should get education under Right to Education Act, and we promote education. We also ask them to go ahead for further studies and achieve in career. If the child is not very good in studies, we help them go through a vocational training model so that the child becomes successful and gets a job. We provide basic support to the children to go to school, like uniforms, bags, and other materials, so that the child has all the utilities to attend school. Next is that we provide appropriate support to teachers and to the schools are provided. There is a lot of teachers training happening in each one teach one, where teachers are trained to understand the child, because every child is unique and there needs to be understanding for the child. Every teacher needs to understand the child so that there is an inbuilt capacity development happening in the child. Then students are also supported in the schools by giving them a meal. We provide them a meal after school coaching classes. Also, there is a lot of self-development classes for the children, like personality development, other activity development. We conduct extracurricular activities in the school, like sports and the dance, drama, and other stuff, so that children come to Mumbai during our annual function and they perform over there. We also provide a healthy environment for the child by conducting health and hygiene awareness classes also, and medical camp for the children. Now, how is EOTO different from others? EOTO is different because we work in the secondary section now, and we also work in urban slums and rural India. We help the child to strengthen their intellectual and emotional capability. Every child goes through a stage of counseling with each one teach one over a period of 3 years, and the child's thinking ability is being improved. how do we measure the work? Our EOTO is an organization certified by ISO 9001:2050, and a detailed monitoring is being done by the internal and external auditors. And we have a clear-cut sustainable objectives that is being measured. For the first objective is attendance of students need to be maintained at 75% during the school as well as in the remedial coaching classes. The second objective that we maintain is a complete overall development performance to be raised at 60%, because child is measured in the 8th standard, and while they leave 10th standard, their holistic development performance is measured, and there needs to be 60% growth in the development of the child. The third and the best part of each one teach one classes is like student exam results. There is 100% passing results. Every child who reaches each one teach one is being ensured that the child is passing 10th and moving on its career. From last 38 years, we have grown from 5 beneficiaries passing 10th to 15,000 plus beneficiaries passing 10th till 2020. So this every year we have more than 15,000 children passing 10th standard from through each one teach one program. And over a period of years, since 2014 till today, we have maintained our passing percentage above 80%. It's during the pandemic and before the pandemic, when there was change in syllabus, we had gone up till below 80%. Rest we were able to maintain above 90%. How anyone can support each one teach one is like they can support by being part of the school activity, building a library or a toilet, build a school for the needy children, support, be a sponsor for children in the remedial coaching. In community program is support the tuition programs, donate fund for worksheet model, or support a vocational training center for the women. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much for being here in such a beautiful and wonderful evening and listening to us and helping or understanding us, understanding each one teach one, and bringing us to a bigger group of people. Thank you, Mrs. Rekha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Renu. Thanks a lot. It's a wonderful journey that we all saw, and we will get back to you after the second presentation. I'm sure our audience has a lot of questions. Thanks a lot. Over to you. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Renu. That was extremely interesting to hear about, particularly to see your focus on the development for children by supporting the school and the community, the two places where children spend all their days. So lovely to hear you, and thank you for sharing your journey. Our next guest this evening is Miss Aarti Savoor, a passionate educationist and artist, a motivational speaker, a life coach, and a singer too. Aarti is the CEO of Parisarasha Center for Educational Research and Training. Parisarasha is a Mumbai-based not-for-profit organization that supports schools to provide joyful learning through environment and art. Aarti strongly believes that to bring about a positive change in society, there is an ardent need to bring about continuous innovation in the education system. She's worn many hats. She's won many awards for her leadership and her contribution as an educationist. Over to you, Aarti. We look forward to hearing more about Parisarasha.
So thank you so much, Aditi, and thank you so much, Rekha, for giving me this opportunity. And of course, how can I miss on Anil Swarup sir? This is a wonderful platform, sir. I mean, to bring back that faith about goodness in people. So great work, sir. And I'm really privileged and proud to be on this platform sharing with Jyoti ma'am. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey of Parisarasha. So as Parisar is environment and Asha is hope. So it's almost like a 40th year we are in. And before I start my presentation, I would like to, divide the Parisarasha's journey into two parts. One is pre-pandemic and the pandemic part, because everything the world turned upside down during pandemic. And so we also had to shift our gears. So I would request my colleague Sukhada, she's over here, to show the video, which is, showing our journey of Parisarasha before pandemic. Yeah, over to you, Sukhada. Yeah.
We are all born with these natural qualities. We have all experienced these qualities when we were young. But as we grow up, we forget our natural qualities. Rather, we are forced to forget. Can we dream of a learning system where our natural qualities are encouraged for future sustainability of the individual and also our planet? Parisar Asha is Gloria's dream to change the education system to provide joyful learning for a sustainable future through the environment for the environment. Gloria D'Souza, a school teacher, created revolution in the history of Indian education with her not-for-profit registered trust, Parisar Asha. Gloria was the first Ashoka Fellow and has been awarded with international recognition as a social entrepreneur. Today, Parisar Asha is spearheaded by Ms. Aarti Savoor with a team of professionals from various national and international backgrounds. Parisar Asha is supporting public and private schools to provide affordable, joyful education at par with global standards.
Government says right to education. We believe at Parisar Asha right to right education. To support our educational institutions to provide quality education and also creative education, Parisar Asha has various unique programs. One of the signature program is Ecotech World School program, because what we believe that today the need is to be eco. Eco is not only your environment, but it can be also your economy, and tech is a technique to live life.
Ecotech World School program is a wholesome program to empower schools to address the challenges of 21st century educational needs while maintaining the fundamentals and identity of the school intact through its unique pedagogy of ESOL, Environmental Studies Approach Towards Learning. This comprehensive program provides global curriculum suitable for State Board and CBSE syllabus for nursery to Standard 7, detailed lesson plan guidelines, digital and traditional teaching aids, virtual classrooms, worksheets and workbooks, assessment and evaluations, teachers training to develop academic skills as well as soft skills, and parents orientation. In a nutshell, a complete support system to create tomorrow's successful, positive, global citizens. Environment, school, teacher, and parent. These are very important factors in the child's learning process. To complete this chain and to address parental issues, Parisar Asha has launched a free helpline number.
It gives me great pleasure to be here at this global symposium on soul in education organized by Parisar Asha, which is taking government's initiative of right to education a step further by promoting right to right education.
एजुकेशन सिस्टम को थोड़ा सुधारे, थोड़ा क्रिएटिव ही बनाए, जैसी आपकी थिंकिंग है, तो मैं बड़ी खुश हो जाऊंगी क्योंकि आई एम अ पेरेंट टुडे.
So thank you, Sukada. So throughout our 40 years, we have reached out to around 3,200 schools with our Ecotech program, and we have developed many other programs too. And especially during pandemic, what we realized there is a need, to change the entire approach towards education. And we tried working on different areas. It's not just about education. It's not just about art or integration or environment, but also socio-emotional component, because that is something was, always missing in our education system. So this is where, during pandemic, our journey, where we have, there's a laundry list of so many different projects what we have started. So quickly we'll just take you through different projects what we have come up in the year of 2021. So Sukada, can you please start the PPT? Yeah. Yeah, so we are calling that as new hopes, new beginnings, because every you can say challenge brings the possibilities of new beginnings. So here we are. Next. Yeah, so during second wave of pandemic, because this is, I'm just taking a stock of our last year, what happened. So during second year of pandemic, we really have to rethink on different areas, and this is how what we have come up with, and we have been very successful. I must say, with my great support of my team and people who believed in us. So this is what we are over here, what we have offered throughout this 40 years, and during, especially during pandemic. Next. So we changed the look and feel of our Ecotech World School program. Now we have our online portal. We went to the schools, we handed over the curriculums and the lesson plans and the worksheets to the students. Our reach is this year is for 20,000 students for our Ecotech World School program. We helped teachers to how they can work on online, because this was a new thing for them. Absolutely. So that's where we gave complete hand holding. We also helped students to because there were students who were without gadgets, they were without education. So that's where somewhere like with the great support of different corporates and individuals, we have worked on that. Next. So this is our e-commerce site, because a lot of, I must say that Parisar Asha is a pioneer in bringing worksheet methodology in India. Like Gloria D'Souza was the person behind introducing environmental studies in India. So this e-commerce site, why we started being an NGO, because a lot of parents wanted to have these worksheets, because students were at home. The studies, the entire education field was, like where parents needed a lot of help. So that's how now you can buy our worksheets online. Next. You can see over here, we have this e-commerce site where you can order Parisar Asha's worksheets. Yeah, next, Sukhuda. Next.
I see a box. The box is brown. I see a bug in the box. The bug is little and red.
Yeah, next. We also started with Digital Resource Center. In fact, we never used to believe in digital, exposing children, especially at the young age, because Parisar Asha's work is right from nursery till grade 7. I mean, we used to stop our curriculum over there, because 8, 9, 10 standard, you have to do rote learning. But at least when your foundational years, you really have to have not just exposure to the academic skills, but also soft skills and developing attitude and value system. So, but we realized either it is going to be online education or no education. And that's where we started with this digital portal also, where teachers were given the access, where they can download all the lesson plans, download all the digital teaching aids, students' worksheets, everything is now on our portal. Next. We started a lot of activities online for the educators. It was free workshops for teachers, where almost 1,500 educators took part. We had this online workshops for educators. It's called WOW series, Wednesday online workshops. And we touched upon different areas. And in fact, we realized that's the way, in fact, this digitalization, it was like forcefully everybody had to get into this online thing, and that's how we could get a lot of people taking advantage of this. Yeah, next. We had this leadership webinar where we could get all these veterans from this leadership field, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Dr. Fauzia Khan, Smita Jaikar, and many others, like who participated in this leadership webinar, which we wanted especially for teachers, where teachers can be the leaders, they can be the role models for children, especially during pandemic. Yeah, next. We conducted a lot of creative camps, summer camps for children online, and we could reach out to the entire India, pan India. Otherwise, we were limited, Mumbai and nearby areas. But I think this online thing really gave us the exposure to the entire India. Next. eco-friendly Ganpati making workshops. So our workshops are very unique and different. It's not just about academic orientation, but also working on your artistic skills. We have theater in education, we have art integration, we have socio-emotional workshops. Next. So we started with visual arts club, online club, performing arts club, online. Next. Started with spoken English enrichment sessions, and we really got wonderful response for this, because all these years we had that limitations, like how can our small team can reach out to so many people, but here we could reach out to masses. Yeah, next. We also work with a lot of CSR companies, CSR initiatives. So our signature project is Positive Parenting and Child Helpline, which is supported by Capgemini. So it's a toll-free helpline where you can just make a call related to any issues related to not only about your child, but anybody from your family, where there are their mental issues, their emotional issues, their behavioral issues, academic issues, if the child has any disabilities or slow learner, everything under the depression, anxiety, and especially during this COVID times, I think everybody was going through that. So everything is taken care of free of cost. We also launched recently an app for this mental health. Next. So Mrs. Supriya Sule was our chief guest for this app launch. Next. You can also download this app. It's available on Android. And we also conducted emotional well-being conclave too during this World Mental Health Day. We started with this Ask the Expert series. It was a talk show where we invited all these veterans from this mental health field, where everybody, they spoke about different areas, aspects of mental health. Next. This is our unique program because we work on education and environment, where we are conducting these workshops in schools, especially for 4th graders to 7th graders, where we are sensitizing them towards energy conservation. And this was in association with Mahindra Life Spaces. So the reach in 1 year is 80 schools, 10,000 families. Next. We supported 10,000 students free of cost from underprivileged schools from rural and urban Maharashtra, with the great support of various corporates and individual donors too. So we also got really young change makers who contributed, who raised funds for these other kids. Next.
परीक्षेला अशा बुक तुम्ही मला फ्री मध्ये पुस्तकं दिली, यामुळे मला अभ्यासात खूप मदत झाली. थँक्यू.
ह्या अतिशय भयंकर कोरोना काळात तुम्ही माझ्या मुलीला फ्री पुस्तकं दिल्याबद्दल खूप खूप आभार.
थँक्स सो मच परिसर आशा बुक फ्री दिल्याबद्दल.
Yeah, then along with CSR, we also conducted in 25 schools for 3,500 students eco-friendly Ganpati workshop. This is an environmental and art project. Next. Study circle is also a unique concept because today our children don't have good mentors. They have, they basically get influenced by film stars, but they need to have the right role model. So that's where we started with this study circle, where 8, 9, 10 standard students are taught by the engineering college students from a reputed engineering college. And this really worked very well. So it's not just about teaching science and maths, but also giving them that mentorship, that role model to look forward, that they also want to do something in life. So our reach is 400 students over there. Next. Reading club is a completely free club because today our children are not able to, sustain with the reading habits. So to develop that interest for reading, we started this free club, and anybody who wants to join, it's free of cost. It happens on Fridays. You can reach out to Parisar Asha. The reach is 2,000 students have taken benefit of this reading club. Yeah. Next. These are our CSR partners in 2021. And let me tell you, I think I forgot to tell about our mental health program. Almost 4 lakh families have taken benefit of our mental health program, which is Positive Parenting and Child Helpline. Next. these are some new initiatives as per NEP policies. Now we are working on the foundational years, and NEP now talks about arts integration, theater in education, but we have been doing, and socio-emotional curriculum, but we have been practicing that for so many years. So this is now, like we are revamping our services where we can, to suit the needs as per the NEP. So we have creative beginnings for CBSE and other progressive schools, not just state board schools, but any even state board school who's progressive. So we work with government schools also. We work with state board schools, private schools, aided, unaided, underprivileged. So all different economical background, we are catering to these students from different schools. Next. This is a design studio. So Parisar Asha also believes in, true inclusion, where we have people with disabilities working for Parisar Asha. So this is something for them, like to give them that boost, because they are brilliant artists who are working for our designing collaterals and our teaching aids. So if you have any kind of requirement for your collaterals or posters, you can always contact us. This is, and special like rates for NGOs and schools. Next. This is our capacity building training programs for teachers in a new, of course, we have been doing this teachers training program for several years, but this is something as per the need of the hour. We are also working on different areas. So this is something our new initiative. Next. Okay, it's always great to, be appreciated. So it's not that for awards we are working, but we have been fortunate and blessed that every time we get, we get applaud on the something for 2021. I was selected as one of the top 100 global women in leadership award globally. And these are other awards. So yeah, we are really blessed, and thank you so much for so much of love. Next. So thank you so much. It was a quick presentation because we had a time limit, and I know it was very difficult to condense everything, whatever we have been doing over the years. But yeah, in 15 minutes, I could sum up this so that there is a time for question answers also. So thank you so much for providing us this opportunity to present Parisar Asha's work. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Aarti. I have been closely associated with Parisar Asha in the past and a huge admirer of the ESOL-based learning. But it's been extremely, extremely encouraging to see how you've pivoted to the digital and the new way of learning through the pandemic and been so innovative. So this was extremely interesting. Thank you so much. I think we can open for questions.
Yeah. So besides appreciation, any questions?
Has any questions so far? Let me make a few observations and a couple of things. First of all, my compliments to both the organizations. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. When Rekha ji said that she and Jyoti ji had the same principle, I thought they had the same principles also. Not merely the same principle, but the same principles you work on. It was so heartening to see what you are trying to do. I think I must confess that though I was aware of what Aarti ji is doing, but I was not aware of each one teach one in my tenure as Secretary School Education, even thereafter. So what a pleasure it was to understand what you're doing. It's brilliant. Now, what I would suggest to you would be that in the scaling of what you're doing, because as I came out in a presentation, you want to scale. You want every child who requires to be educated to be educated. I don't know whether you are outside of Maharashtra or you're outside of Mumbai. If you want to get out to some other states, then probably I can reach out to some officials there, but you'll have to clearly work out as to what exactly is the requirement from the state government or any organization that you want. I mean, the only advantage that I have is that some officers still listen to me. So when I see some good work, I reach out to them and request them to take a look at this good work. And then it is between the two of them. That's what Nexus Good is all about, getting the good people together. And I have come across some extremely bright, brilliant, positive officers who are still willing to do things. So in that sense, I would certainly want each one to go out to a larger clientele, so to say. And in doing so, what exactly is required? I plan to visit Mumbai sometimes in April and maybe have a longer chat with you. Rekha ji can organize a meeting of Nexus Good where we can look at such organizations and see how we can play a role in promoting that. And in doing so, my request to both the organizations making presentation is that I write an article every week on Nexus of Good. And I've been writing about a large number of civil society organizations who are doing a wonderful job. Aditi is nodding her head because Arpan was one of the topics on which I wrote, and it was received very well. So may I request both of you to send me a note of about 1,000 words, 1,100 words, with a few photographs, which I can then use for the next articles that I propose to write. So that will really help. I think the other good thing which would be helpful would be in the context of the post-COVID management, as you are already doing it in terms of remedial education, in terms of attending to out-of-school children. I think both of these will be required during post-COVID, because my understanding or my feedback is a lot of children, especially girl child, will not come back to the school unless the civil society organizations play a very active role. They are out and they may not come back to the school. So I think all civil society organizations will have to play an important role. And since you're already into it, you would know what is required to be done. I'm so glad that there was an emphasis of looking at role models. You know, even in the bureaucracy, I have tried to talk about role models around, because the youngsters have to see that good is succeeding. That's what a role model is. You know, normally we see that honest, efficient people are suffering. It's not so. A lot of them are doing wonderful job and are succeeding in life. So we have to present those. Like when I see what Jyoti ji has done and what Aarti ji has done, it gives me hope, because here are people who have demonstrated that despite the negative set of circumstances, they have managed to do something, a lot of things. But that doesn't get to be known, and that's the whole objective of Nexus of Good. So I'm so glad that you are doing what you're doing, and that would help, because it all started with I think Rekha ji's mentioning the word passion. I think without that passion, we can't drive, whether in the government or outside the government. That's a prerequisite. We underplay the importance of passion, and I can see that passion in the presentations that were made. Without that passion in what, and passion is very infectious actually. When others observe passionate people making headway, those passionate people start believing that they can also make headway. So I'm really grateful to both of you to have found time. I had heard Aarti ji before. I was always impressed with what she was doing, and I got to know more of it, because in between I was a bit out of touch on account of some personal reasons. I was unable to interact with all of you, but I'm so glad that I have touched base again, and it was a period for learning for me. And I eagerly look forward to physical interaction sometimes in April, and would request Aarti ji, and she's always been very kind. She organizes such wonderful meetings there. I look forward to the visit to Mumbai sometimes in April and have an interactive session with all of you. Thank you very much for these two very, very wonderful presentations.
Thank you, sir. Sir, before you joined us, we had already fixed our physical meeting of Nexus of Good at Jyoti's residence.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sir.
Yeah, we just decided that all of us
have that. And Rekha ji, my request also is, let this happen once a month at least. You can pick up one or two people who can make a presentation like this. It doesn't really matter how many people are joining in it. To me, it doesn't really matter at all. For me, the quality part is more important, and I feel energized interacting and listening to you. Also, even if 10 people feel energized, it's good enough. The energy will grow. So don't worry about the number of people joining in discussion here. My request to you, since you've started it all over again, you doing it so wonderfully earlier, but because of COVID, we didn't interact so much. Have at least a session every month where if not two, at least some person comes and makes a presentation and others feel inspired. I'm sure Aarti ji would have inspired Jyoti ji would have inspired Aarti ji. I mean, it's not that they require any additional inspiration. It's always good to see that it is happening, and that gives you a lot of hope.
So if no one has a question, I have a question to Renu. Renu, you need to unmute.
Yes.
Renu, I've been seeing each one to each one, like since I was a kid, I would say. But when I see Jyoti Di having so much faith in you and handing over so many responsibilities to you, I want to ask, how do you feel as a person?
I feel very responsible because she has made this organization, like 40 years she has been taking care of the organization. It's not only the organization, each and every member who has been working in the organization, she has a very personal and one-to-one loving relationship with them. And over the period of last 10 years, what Jyoti Didi has taught me is anything that matters in each one teach one is the relationships that we have been made. And for me, taking care of all those relationships responsibly and keeping up to her word, because she wants to see this organization 40 years more, even if she is here or if she is not here. She said, I am in and around there, but your responsibility from my point of view would be maintaining each and every relationship that she had made. That is from a child to the donor, to the trustees, to the people living, making the each one teach one alive. It's the people who are working in each one teach one which makes life to each one teach one. And for that, it really matters to her, their relationships. So my agenda for the rest of the time that I'll be here is maintaining Jyoti Didi's relationships and not spoiling a single one that she has passed on to me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Beautiful.
I have several questions. I'd love to know a little bit more about the worksheets and also what do you all do with the parents? And then I have a question just for the EOTO. Why is it called that? Each one teach one. Or at least I didn't pick up exactly what I thought I would hear is somehow that there be one-on-one teaching. So those are my three questions.
Yeah. First, it is called each one teach one because it had two parts. It was Jyoti Didi has started as each one teach one, like whoever she teaches, they will go ahead and teach another student. So we have a each one teach one cycle. Every child who passes from each one teach one comes back and spends time and support to the other students who are there. We also have an EOTO ex-students alumni where this ex-students who are working takes care of some scholarship of the children who are there in each one teach one. So someone who's passing 10 or needs to go to an engineering, there are some ex-students who gather money or who help them get admission to a particular college with their contacts, and that is our each one teach one model. Every person is responsible for taking care of the next batch that is coming forth. That's why the name is each one teach one. Yeah.
And now the worksheets and the parents?
Worksheets and the parents.
Could you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah,
on
the worksheet model is like we were teaching in the school, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was the teaching was stopped completely because tribal children had no access to mobile phones. So online coaching, which was happening for the urban children, was not happening for the tribal children. So we had this teachers meeting and we came up with worksheets for each and every chapter where a small summary is given, and child after reading the summary will ensure that each and every questions have been answered, and those questions are the answered question papers are being collected back by our teachers, and a fresh set of next question papers are given for another chapter, and we do corrections. And when we meet the child on a weekly basis, their child has been made and understood what are the mistakes or where are the errors and how do they overcome the difficulties that they are happening to solve the worksheet model. So this we did in the whole pandemic. Because after seeing the program, there are a lot of school principals who have written to us that they want to replicate the same worksheet model in the school, because during the less timing, the first to 8 standards and 8 to 10 standard, if worksheets would be given, they will solve it at home and ensure practice of the chapters. So there is a clear-cut clarification on what the child is doing at home also, and as well as in the school, the teaching is happening.
So the worksheets are associated with specific books. They are not
the state board syllabus, the syllabus that is being taught in the school.
Okay, not new workbooks.
The state board syllabus, the English, Hindi, Marathi, all the subjects.
And then how do you do what I guess would be parent training?
Parent training. We don't do a parent training. We only do counseling of parents.
Okay, how does that work?
So counseling of parents is like we have counseling happening in the school premises. Every once a month, a counselor goes to the school, and some selected students and their parents are called for counseling. That is for the overall development of the child in the school as well as at home, because everything can't be developed in the school premises. The home also should have a cohesive environment for the child to grow. So the parents are also counseled.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So Prisha is a wonderful educationist herself. And I think you all three should connect, Aarti and Renu, connect with her. She's based in Pune and she does wonderful work in education. So you all can all connect together.
We'll be happy to meet.
Prisha, would you like to say, we got 2 more minutes. So would you like to say, what do you do?
I'm with something called Education for Life. And in a nutshell, it is holistic and experiential and all the things that you would hope for in a good approach to education. But we probably are more unique in the fact that what we do is work with the energy of children. We help teachers and parents to know how to work with specific specific behaviors. And it also is based on consciousness. Really, energy is consciousness. And since we have only a couple of minutes, I obviously can't say very much, but I would love to interact with you. Sure. And thank you, Rika, for trying to connect us. I'm delighted to have heard so much wonderful stuff from what you all have done. And honestly, it's a joy when you're working with something that you do feel passionate about with education to hear what has come about with the passion of others.
Thank you. So I can see on my screen, Nanda. Anuradha, would you like to introduce yourself in 1-2 sentences? Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this session today. I'm Anuradha Gupta. I am a student of Kamla High School. I passed my class 10 in the year 2000. I studied English from Rekha ma'am, and she used to teach us in such a creative way. She literally helped us identify ourselves, identify the inner creativity within us, and we've not been connected too much, but yes, we've been in connect. Yesterday I met her at her home and she told me about the session, and she told me about Jyoti ma'am. So I think it's more of a reunion of Kamla school students from different age groups. So I'm glad to be a part of this, and I'm really, yesterday I was just talking to Rekha ma'am and trying to understand that how does the field of education look right now. What I hear from today's session, I really feel that there's so much of great work that's happening. It's quite inspiring, and someday I would like to be a part of it. I would also want to be, helping people who are underprivileged or people who struggle with their studies in day-to-day life. So thank you very much for having me.
The idea was to introduce one more future teacher. I used to take them to the garden and make them write. And I said, I will not correct your spellings, I'll not correct your grammar, but just write. And they came up with beautiful poems and essays, and they did wonderfully. So thank you. Over to you, Aditi. We are 1 minute past 6 o'clock. I think it has been a wonderful evening of interacting. Aditi.
I think thank you everyone for taking out the time to join us. And yes, wonderful evening. A big thank you to both the organizations for sharing your inspiring work. Most importantly, a big thank you, Mr. Swaroop, for the inspiration behind all of this and for all of us to get to know more about each other and the good work that's happening around us. I can say that in this world, we just get so involved with what we are doing. And yes, that's the other side of the passion. You just get so involved with what you're doing that at times you really miss out on just getting to know what's happening around us. So thank you, sir. And last but not the least, a big thank you to Preksha. I don't think this would have been possible without my number of calls to her to help with links and passwords and all the tech stuff. So thank you very much, Preksha. You've always been the force behind this.
So can we have our cameras on so we can click a picture? Does anybody?
Thank you so much, Mr. Sro. Thank you, Preksha. Thank you, everyone.
Who's clicking the picture, but we are all smiling. Not me, I can't. Physically, yes.
Sukada, can you?
Aarti, you could do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm asking Sukada to.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Request everyone to get their videos on, if that's possible.
Yes, lovely.
I would love to meet you, Prisha.
Shana, nice to see you. Nanda, nice to see you. Sukada, nice to see you. Nice to see you, sweetie. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, everyone, so much.
Thank you. God
Have
bless.
a good evening and see you all soon.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Take care.